Hey guys, this is Jacob Ayula, and this is Jake Horrors. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my brand new model I just made last year, the Emerald Knight. So, a little thing about the Emerald Knight is that it was my first real LEGO train set when I was 9. I pushed it around with my hands, making train noises, until I added power functions to the engine. It worked pretty well until the parts were getting worn out, so I decided to take it apart. And it was a bit of a disappointment for me. Now you're probably wondering how I built this impressive train. I used the studio from Bricklink, and it was amazing. I then looked at some pictures from Flickr to give me ideas on building this engine and making it look like an LNER A3 Pacific, such as the Flying Scotsman, which this engine was made out of. Finally, in 2021, I bought the parts and it was finished, and it looks amazing. So now that we've gone over the history and how I built this steam engine, let's go dive into the details. So here we are at the front of the steam engine. These are smoke deflectors, which almost look like the real thing, and this is the chimney, the funnel. And over here we have the smoke box, which pivots all the way around. Then we have the headlights. There are no lights to this train. Here we have the silver buffers. And down here is the pilot truck. Now these over here are Big Ben Brick small wheels. They are similar to Lego's wheels, but pivot much better. So here we are at the driving rods. This right here is the pistons that make the engine go. I did the design from Flickr, and it actually works pretty well. The rods you see right here are 3D printed parts from Trained Bricks. This guy makes custom rods and valve gear for your steam engines. But right now, I'm happy with how it looks. And the wheels you see here are from Big Ben Bricks. They are actually Big Ben Bricks extra large wheels. They are not shown in Lego because Lego has not made wheels just like this. So here we are at the cab of the locomotive. And right here is the door to access the firebox. If I could just open this, there we go. This is the motor. It's actually an old Lego motor from Power Functions. It works pretty well and it suits with studs on top so you can actually build inside and actually keep it stable. Let me just put this back. There. And over here is the trailer truck. The trailer truck had some difficulties making sure that it wouldn't pivot around sharp curves. So what I use is some of my old Lego parts from the Emerald Knight, and it works pretty well. The cab you see here, I'll show you the interior later, but the windows look great and so does the piping. Here we are at the top of the cab, and what you see right here, that's the whistle. And the cab is all smooth. So here we are at the cab of the locomotive, and right here is a Lego magnet coupler. Now I chose this because if I use a tender link coupler, then it would probably cause problems if it goes around the track. Over here at the front of the tender, we have a shovel and a broom. The shovel is for firing coal, and the broom is for sweeping coal dust. Inside is the cab area. We have the engineer's side and the fireman's side. It's not as detailed as I want it to be like other steam engines, but we do have the throttle and the gauges, and of course the power function wire that heads to the tender. Next up is the tender. I gave it a 4-wheel design, and that right there is the power functions motor. This motor works pretty well, and it supplies power to the brick motor inside the steam engine. I'll show you the top a little bit later. At the back of the tender, we have the tail lamp and a BMR knuckle coupler. I love these couplers so much because they can couple your trains and keep them coupled together, unlike Lego's coupler, which kind of fails a little bit. So here we are at the top of the tender. We have a great coal design, have a power functions cable, and that right there is a bit of a surprise. To access the tenders inside, open up the tender cover to reveal the power functions. Here we have a rechargeable battery box. Make sure you recharge this or else the engine won't run. Then we have the PFX brick, which I absolutely love. gives my train sound, lights, and motor control. Also, we have the speaker that gives the sounds, and that is the IR receiver. One thing about this train that is a disappointment, I can't access the power functions with the tender cover on. So in order to access it, I have to keep the tender cover off. But someday I might get an IR extension cable so I can access the train with the cover on. Now that we've gone over the details of the train, it's time to test out the sounds. But before I do that, I have to take the tender cover off. Now that we have the sounds turned on, let's set our controller to number 2. Anyway, here's the whistle. And the whistle used on this engine is Norfolk & Western number 1218. Now this is a British steam engine, so it doesn't have a bell, but it does have a guard's whistle. Pretty cool. And if I turn my IR receiver throttle this way, this is what happens. That's the coupler. Now there's no other sounds but steam chuffing and other sounds like that. So let's take it to the layout. Now unfortunately I don't have a good layout to run this train on, but that's okay. And I don't have any good coaches. But other than that, let's roll out. Alright, and that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, as well as I enjoyed making it. Now you're probably going to be asking, am I going to be distributing instructions to make this engine? That's going to be a big no, because I design it myself, and I do not want to share my designs. Because you never know that someone might do fraud building. That means they build it, and it claims to be their own when it's someone else's creation. But other than that, it's a great engine. If you want to make trains just as well as this engine, feel free to use the studio. It's free to download and it's lots of fun. I'm Jacob Waiula, and I'm signing off. See you next time.